So if you've clicked onto this video, you've read that right. At one point on my fitness journey, I was actually sent into the ER. I almost died. And from that entire experience and my training journey, I've learned a lot of things. So here's exactly what I've learned. So before we actually dive into like what actually happened, let me first give you a little bit of context and backstory. So these pictures were taken from second semester of my freshman year in college. And at first, when I was just a beginner, and this is probably what you guys faced as well, I didn't know what exercises to do, what I should eat, and I was hopelessly relying on YouTube and TikTok workouts. And I basically did everything that I saw on the internet like a mindless idiot. YouTube said if I was skinny and wanted to gain weight fast, I should do dirty bulking. TikTok said do this and do that for workouts for the best muscle growth. An article said more volume equals more gains. Instagram said this guy's physique is attainable in just 3 to 6 months. And yeah, because of all of this, at one point I was eating 6,000 calories a day. That's 3 full meals, 2 Huel shakes, 1 mass gainer shake with chocolate milk, and training 2 times a day. I was waking up at 6 a.m., going to the gym at 6:30 a.m. for a full 90-minute weightlifting session. And after all my classes ended for the day, I'd go back to the gym, hit another 60-minute weightlifting session. So I was pretty addicted to training back then. And the reason is because I just genuinely wanted to see results fast. Like I had this bad expectation of if I just trained a lot within 3 to 6 months, I'll be able to reach X physique. But as you can clearly tell, that was wrong and I definitely fucked up. And overall, I was just so obsessed with getting bigger and building my physique as fast as possible that I ignored a lot of the red flags that I have been seeing. Here you could see like these were the Huel shakes that I was talking about. 2 shakes of this a day was around 700 to 800 calories if I remember. This mass gainer shake was around 3,000 calories per shake, and I downed this every single night before I went to bed. It was insane. And this was basically what every single dinner of mine looked like. I was eating in the dorm cafeteria, so it was like a buffet style, and I just grabbed food upon food upon food. Protein, carbs, fats, whatever, I just shoved it down. Pause. And yeah, basically after 2 months of eating like that, this is what I look like. My skin broke out, I got a little bit of chubbiness, like my jawline wasn't there anymore. And yeah, I just looked and felt horrible. So during that time, I felt crazy sick from all of the food. Like you don't even understand how sick I felt. Like literally it felt like my skin was just so grimy and so oily, and I hated it. Oh, it was such a disgusting feeling. And I had constant brain fog every day. And you know how shitty that feels? Like, especially since I was running a business back then, I had to have like mental clarity to operate within the business, to do writing, to do scripting, all that stuff. And it just made it 10 times harder for me to actually think clearly about business and everything. I was super low on energy, needing upwards of like 9 hours of sleep per night to even wake up in the morning. My skin broke out and I got visible face fat for the first time in my life. And here's the funny part, and I couldn't even get it up. Yes, laugh all you want. I developed erectile dysfunction. And all of these symptoms were basically caused by severe overtraining and crazy poor nutrition that killed my gains, tanked my energy, and definitely fucked up my testosterone levels. And all of this basically summed up to irreversible damage, which leads us to what actually happened. So yeah, excuse this image. I know it's fucking crazy, horrible, it's disgusting, but yeah, that's basically what I looked like before I actually got sent into the ER. So on the day I was sent to the emergency room, it was due to a crazy allergic reaction that I have never ever experienced in my life, like ever before. So how it basically happened. So I was out playing basketball with my friends after dinner, and I started to feel this itchiness. And it was probably because of something I ate during dinner, and I've never ever had an allergic reaction to anything I ate before. So this was really new to me. So after I started to feel this tingliness and itchiness on my face, it got progressively worse. It first started with my face, then it got to my back, and then my scalp also started getting very itchy, and I was getting like these bumps on my face and my head that I just couldn't get rid of, and it just got progressively worse and worse. I got some water, I rinsed myself off. I thought it was just like the basketball court being too dirty that day, and I was a little bit allergic to that dirt, but it just got worse. So at one point I realized, holy shit, this is actually getting really serious. So I ran to my car, I drove myself to the ER. At that point, my entire body was swelling up. Like my tongue swelled up and I started to slur my words. And I was actually starting to have difficulty breathing while on my way to the hospital. And honestly, there was a point where I almost thought I was seriously going to die. Like, it was one of the most traumatic experiences that I've ever had. The feeling of your throat locking up, not being able to speak to your mom over the phone, and just like still trying to drive your way there with no support around you whatsoever. It was genuinely one of the scariest times or experiences of my life. But luckily, I pulled through. But obviously it wasn't all good news. After testing my blood samples, the doctors at the ER basically told me that I had failing kidney functions. But everything was uncertain at that point, and allergic reactions, they tend to cause spikes in kidney enzyme levels. So 2 weeks after the incident, we rescheduled a new time to get my blood work done and everything. So I went back to the hospital to get another blood work analysis done. And sure enough, I had permanent kidney damage, all at the age of 20. So as you can see, most of this is in Chinese, but elevated creatinine levels and lower than normal EGFR levels. And this basically signified that, I had failing kidneys. After the results, the doctors basically determined that it was basically caused by the time where I was dirty bulking and pushing my body to the limits, eating highly processed foods, masking powders, and basically the overconsumption of protein. So yeah, that was basically the entire story of the incident. Now, moving forward, obviously lessons learned. Here's what I've learned from the mistakes that I've been making in the past. From overtraining to overconsumption of protein, all of that stuff. I'm gonna be debunking the most common mistakes that beginners make, and certainly that I've made in my own training journey. Number one, protein intake. More does not equal better. Like, seriously, more does not equal better. Every online guru always tells you, prioritize protein, prioritize protein, get more protein, eat more protein. If you want to get in shape, eat more protein. And without like proper knowledge, it's really easy for you to just way overdo things because you're so eager to get results fast. And it can genuinely be taken too far. That's case in point, my kidney damage. It was caused by an overconsumption of highly processed foods like protein powder, chocolate milk, and just like eating too much protein all in all. If it's taken too far, it can cause kidney strain and be counterintuitive to what you want to do in your fitness journey. And for most people, just like adequate amounts of protein intake will be the most useful and will suffice. You see a lot of guys online, Liver King, Brandon Carter, a lot of big names go on carnivore diets, eat raw meat, eat testicles, eat organs, all of that stuff. Going carnivore, going keto, this doesn't necessarily help you unless you have a very certain type of body composition. And if you're just taking what everyone says and applying it to yourself, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get injured, and you're gonna cause yourself more damage than good. So the most important lesson that I wanna teach you guys here is everyone has different goals, whether it be weight loss, weight gain, main gaining, and different goals require different levels of macro and calorie distributions. You need to find something that works for you. A keto diet, a carnivore diet may not necessarily work for you for your fitness and physique goals. So you need to have the right knowledge in order to find something that actually works for you rather than just following online advice blindly like what I did. Now, second, training volume and frequency. More volume does not equal more gains. Again, back to the thing, more doesn't necessarily equal better. Most beginners do believe that more time spent in the gym leads to more results. That's completely false. What's more important? It's more about intensity, progressive overloading, and going to failure. And most important of all, consistency is key, okay? More time in the gym does not equal more progress. And that's a proven fact, both by science and both from my example. Training 2 times in the gym, that's only gonna cause you to severely overtrain yourself, tank your testosterone, fuck up your recovery, and all of that shit. And you don't want that if you wanna succeed as fast as possible. So this is what I do with my clients. I give them personalized training plans for their goals. If they wanna be better in athletics and build an aesthetic physique, we have a certain way to do so. If they are just focusing on more getting aesthetics and health, then we have a certain way to do so. If they wanna have more functionality for everyday purposes, we have a certain way to do so. So that's the importance of personalized training plans. And we keep it under 45 minutes per session and a total of under 3 hours per week. So it's as efficient as possible and as effective as possible. And we always focus on progressive overloading and going to failure. The most important lesson here that I can teach you guys is it's important to balance training with recovery and rest days. Like, you have to understand, training isn't what gets you more muscle mass. Recovery is. Without the adequate amount of sleep and recovery, you're gonna be damaging your muscles over and over again without giving it enough time to repair itself. And if you want a training plan that works for you, you have to understand that everybody's body reacts to different styles of training. And that's the third point that I wanna get into. Training styles. Hypertrophy isn't the end all be all. So you've probably heard about this word hypertrophy before. It's basically the scientific term of muscle building. Hypertrophy training isn't the end all be all, contrary to popular belief. You have to experiment with different training styles to see which one works for you, because everyone's bodies are different, the compositions are different, and just genetics alone. What you have to understand is everybody's body is different, you know? Some people may react better to hypertrophy training and grow more from there. Some people might react better to strength training. Some people might react better to a combination of both. You never know until you actually test it for yourself and see what works for you. So what I do for my clients and what I do for myself is chaining different styles together. It's gonna serve to give your muscles new forms of stimulus to continue growing. And this is basically what we call periodization. So the most important lesson that I have for you is if your goal is to build an aesthetic physique, but you're only focused on hypertrophy, then you're actually slowing down your gains. Add phases of strength, hypertrophy, hybrid phases together to see more growth. And last but not least, what I really want to go over with, and something super important, is expectations. You're not gonna do it all in 3 months, contrary to what people online say. Like this dude on screen, you've probably seen him, Hussein, says he built this physique from just being a skinny ass dude in 1 year. Now, is he a fake natty? We don't know. Nobody has been able to prove him yet, but you have to understand, even if he is all natural, you're not gonna be able to make the amount of results that he's been able to get within a year. He's a genetic anomaly, and you just have to accept that. Both you and I, we're regular people. So yeah, social media has fucked your brain and your thinking with what real progress is and what real results are. Everyone progresses at different speeds depending on level of support and their genetics. And poor expectation is the exact reason why I fucked myself and my health over. I believe that I was special, that I could get similar results to Hussein within a short amount of time. I pushed my body to the limits. I ignored signs of red flags, and I just kept doing it over and over again. At one point, my body just said, okay, enough is enough. You're not gonna be able to handle this. It crashed my testosterone, it fucked up my liver, it fucked up my kidneys, and everything like that. I don't want that for you. So you have to understand, you're simply not going to build a top tier physique 1 to 3 months in of touching weights for the first time. Please rewire yourself to set proper expectations and really just focus on yourself and the progress that you're able to make. So the most important lesson here that I can teach you guys, you have to learn to cut out external noise. Learn to focus on improving yourself day over day. If your weight is changing in a positive way, celebrate that, be happy for that, rather than trying to chase something that you'll never be able to reach. Use other people as motivation, but don't chase after the results. It's the biggest killer of progress. Now, with all of that being said, I want to actually show you my client transformations and proper expectations by seeing my client transformations. These are the actual realistic results you are able to get under 3 months. Most of these guys, we took these progress pictures around the 3-month mark or a little bit under the 3-month mark. And these are all my clients making drastic positive changes by leveraging the right training and nutrition systems. So in my program, I help out under 45 minutes. So I like to keep the training of my clients and as effective as possible so that they do have time to spend outside of the gym and they're not just focused on the gym and living in the gym. They have work and social life and just like their general life to get to. Second, they get their own dedicated nutritionist to teach them nutrition on a very deep level and give them meal plans to work with without ever needing to track calories. So what I mean by that is all my clients, they learn the equivalent portion system. And it's basically a nutrition system that allows them to eat whatever they want, whenever they want, without the need to track calories and still get positive results from that. All by teaching them how to use this system in order to understand what they're eating without the need to track calories within MyFitnessPal. Third, they get weekly one-on-one support with me to get questions answered and be kept accountable. Like, I can't stress this enough. Accountability is super important. Motivation is gonna die out. If you haven't built up good habits, if you don't have the discipline yet, you're gonna need accountability to push through that challenging phase until you finally start seeing the positive changes in your physique, in your body composition. And that's when you're really gonna start building up that habit and getting that positive reinforcement and building up that discipline. And last but not least, they get access to a private community of like-minded individuals so that this isn't a solo journey. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is they try to make fitness and building your dream physique a solo journey, like, solo leveling type shit. You want to disappear for 6 months, a year, make a crazy transformation and then come back successful, That's a dream that a lot of people have, but you have to understand. Going alone, sure, you might be faster, but going with a team, you're gonna be in there for a long run. I forget the quote, but you know what I mean. With people around you pushing you to aim for the same goals, it's gonna be so much easier to have that additional motivation, that additional accountability in order for you to actually achieve the goals, rather than just trying by yourself, giving yourself, and then eventually falling into a bad rhythm, giving into your self-defeating thoughts, and just stop training altogether. So if you're interested in joining Zenith Academy, I only take on high-value men who do believe that they're meant for more and they're ready to make a change in their health and fitness. So that means if you're making decent money and you think it's time to really focus on your health, fitness, and physique and everything like that, and you don't want to figure it all out by yourself, then booking a call with me using the first link in the description below to apply for Zenith Academy. Or if you want to chat with me first, learn more about Zenith Academy before we hop on a call, then hop over to my Instagram at JadenHe and DM me the word Zenith, and I'll personally reach out to you, chat with you, see whether or not you're a good fit, and then we can go from there. So with that being said, this is my full journey of from being sent into the ER to building my dream physique. I hope you found this video valuable and helpful, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.